Hello and welcome. This is Matthias 76, and together we are decoding the deception. As I sit high in my tower at the Decoding the Deception network, I look out over the horizon and I see what just might be the makings of a mighty storm. It is out there. The question is, will it turn into something major, or will it be what the book of Jude calls clouds without rain? I hope for the latter, but I fear it will be the former. I fear the forecast might call for a storm to trump all storms. I will give the quick hit, and then we'll go deeper. We are going to talk about the newly minted felon, Michael Cohen. We will give consideration to Fancy Nancy Pelosi and her hopes for the future. The always reliable Judge Napolitano will weigh in, whether Fox wants him to or not. They all make up the dark clouds gathering and swirling around the red hat wonder, Donald Trump. And because all superstorms need the X factor, that oomph that takes them over the top, we will throw in everyone's favorite obsession of late, the Third Temple in Jerusalem. George Stephanopoulos broke the story in an interview with Michael Cohen, recently convicted and sentenced felon. He was convicted for paying hush money for Trump. Have you asked yourself why it is that when white-collar felons get sentenced, they get to walk the streets for a few months? I guess they want him to have time to appear on ABC News and make sure everyone gets the carefully scripted message. He probably has a book deal to get done as well. After all, he's going to have 3 years in a medium security prison, and between cutting the greens and time at the commissary, he will have time to kill. Writing will help him clear his conscience. All fun about evil elitists having to pay a pittance for their crimes aside, there is serious meat on this bone. And that is where Judge Anthony Napolitano comes in. He appeared on Shepard Smith's show and shared some news that everyone else at Fox wanted to ignore. I know they wanted to ignore it because when I went back to find it again, I looked in vain. If Fox did not delete it altogether, they hid it very well. I finally had to settle on the secondhand report from the Washington Times. And from there I will quote Judge Napolitano. We've learned that federal prosecutors here in New York City have evidence that the President of the United States committed a felony by ordering and paying Michael Cohen to break the law. How do we know that? They told that to a federal judge. Under the rules, they can't tell that to a federal judge unless they actually have the hardcore evidence, adding that they must also move against Mr. Trump legally. Under the rules, they can't tell that to a federal judge unless they intend to do something with that evidence. And the felony is paying Michael Cohen to commit a felony. That's pretty basic. I'm not a judge. I have never played one on TV. Andrew Napolitano is a judge, and that sounds very serious. Clouds are getting darker. Factor into all of that the results of November's election. There's going to be a new sheriff in town. That's right. Nancy Pelosi is soon to be ensconced once again on her King Louis chair of control in the House of Representatives. Sometimes it really appears our world is a scripted cartoon intended to demoralize us. Oh yeah, I forgot. It is. Certain voices might finally be heard. Now we're going to do a Monty Python and do something completely different. It is related, you will have to trust me. We will start out our little diversion with some questions. You are no doubt familiar with the temple tax that the Jews had to pay back in Jesus' day. Why in the world does the coin that they have issued to raise money for the third temple bear the likeness of Donald Trump. Right along with King Cyrus, there he is. Both sides of the coin. It is a little disconcerting. Cyrus sent the Jews back from captivity in Babylon, Babylon having been succeeded by Assyria and King Cyrus. He sent the Jews back to rebuild the temple. Donald Trump, the real estate mogul turned president, Trump, the most pro-Israel president ever, his words. This is the president who talked openly about having a Kabbalah teacher. It's in his book. That is Kabbalah, like Jewish mysticism and black magic. Yeah. Donald Trump, whose Jewish Orthodox son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has silently slipped into the position of being the most powerful figure in U.S. foreign policy and the absolute man in charge of peace in the Middle East. Trump said to Kushner, "If you can't produce Middle East peace, nobody can." That's the Jared Kushner who bought the building at 666 Fifth Avenue in New York. Yes, you got that right. 666. This is made for movie quality stuff. And it gets better. He got most of the financing through the Sith Lord of Darkness himself, George Soros. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. I don't even have to try. So let's recap. We have the most pro-Israel president ever, whose face appears on a Jewish shekel to raise funds for the building of a third temple, and his own Jewish Orthodox son-in-law is in charge of peace in the Middle East, who lives in a building with 666 in its address, which he financed through the Lord of Darkness himself. Are you with me so far? Now let's talk about the third temple. There is a problem, specifically the space where the third temple is supposed to go is occupied. It is occupied by the Muslim mosque, the Dome of the Rock. The Muslim world is very attached to it. It is the third most holy site in Islam, right after Mecca and Medina. So we have the mosque, where the Jews want to build the temple, and Trump, seemingly right in the middle of it all. We did our Monty Python, and it's time to get back to reality, or whatever passes for reality. Getting back to where we started, this is a mess. What Judge Napolitano said is not going to go away. And if you think that she is going to let it go, then you're wrong. We have a legitimate felony conversation in connection with the President of the United States, a very divisive and controversial president. That is a constitutional issue of great magnitude. For all intents and purposes, that storm is forming on the horizon. Keep a weather eye. It is likely that there will only be rumblings between now and Christmas as powerful forces and fronts start to build. The fireworks will begin in the new year as the new Congress is sworn in and we have a new Speaker of the House. Presidents don't look at war, at conflict, the way we do. History shows that all too often they view it as a means to an end. FDR tricked America into going to war, a war we did not want, by provoking the Japanese to attack Pearl Harbor. Lost in the chronicling of bravery, sacrifice, and loss is the truth that World War II, and not any of FDR's New Deal potions, got us out of the Great Depression. I could go on and on. There is no shortage of examples. What might a president threatened with impeachment do? when storm clouds threaten, really threaten, and there exists already certain interests, goals, and proclivities. Might obstacles standing in the way of certain goals be viewed as just that? Obstacles. Obstacles can be removed. It has happened before. Now, you can call me a kook, but a good bit of this is already disconcerting. The rest is just bizarre, kooky, surreal, insane, or it would be if I were not seeing the things I am seeing. There is a storm on the horizon. Of that I feel certain. The question is, will the storm turn into a monster? Will it grow into a storm to trump all storms? One way or another, we will find out. This is Matthias 76. Together, we are decoding the deception. God bless. Have a great day. That concludes our broadcast for today. Immediately below on the left is a link to subscribe to our channel. When you subscribe, make sure to click the notification button. Leave your comments below. We love to hear from you. This is Matthias 76, and together we are decoding the deception.